Please state your first and last name.
I am Matt Mugerauer.
Question number 1. As an Oshkosh City Council member, what is the one initiative that you will advance to improve the business climate in Oshkosh?
One of the main reasons, probably the second reason I'm running, is communication. I feel our city has a communication problem, and by a better way of communicating, we can improve the business climate in Oshkosh. We have obstructions in the flow of information, in the dialogue process between residents, businesses, our community groups, and our council and city hall. And those obstructions need to be removed. A cleaner, more efficient way of moving information will help the business environment here in Oshkosh. We need to re-engage with our leaders in the community, business, civic, and really get them to help move us forward. They are the ones that grow Oshkosh. The city hall, city staff are there to assist, but really the city grows because of its business community and its citizens. They are our best assets that we have. In terms of communicating and improving it, information has to flow better from the council to its residents and to its businesses. The process is rushed. For example, just last evening, the City Council took up a discussion on special events. That information wasn't released to the public until Friday, and is very difficult for businesses and groups and residents to put together a proper response and a timely response when you only have 2 or 3 days notice on information. By doing these things, by re-engaging our leaders in the business community and empowering them to help make a difference and help make Oshkosh greater again, or make Oshkosh better, we can all prosper.
Question number 2. The City of Oshkosh 2017 operating budget that was adopted by the City Council included a 5.7% property tax rate increase. Do you believe this is an appropriate tax increase?
On its face value, no. I do not believe that a 5.7% property tax increase was appropriate, nor do I believe over the last 6 years nearly 27% increase in property taxes has been appropriate. This council has a tax and spend mentality. They create a budget and they'll just tax to satisfy that budget. Let me make a point clear. I'm not looking to cut. I'm also not looking to give budget increases. What I'm looking to do is make sure we're spending every single dollar as best as possible. These are taxpayer dollars. We're entrusted to make good decisions, and we need to make sure that every single dollar is spent wisely. Expenses are rising. We know that. The cost of the services, contracts for unions, and our personnel, they are our biggest expense. But it doesn't mean that their 2% increases have to result in 6% property tax increases every single year. The budget system that we currently have in place is flawed. Department heads have too much control. Instead of the council making the toughest decisions on what to spend money on, why to raise taxes, they get the budget later in the process, and they approve or disapprove single line items here and there. But generally, it's a rubber stamp. It's a yes vote. I have a problem with that. I have concern with that. We're not spending our money as best as we can. We need to re-examine our expenses. The City of Oshkosh does not have a revenue problem. We've got an expense problem. We have an expense control problem. And we need someone who will ask questions and then hold people accountable. That's what I will bring to the council. Accountability for city staff, city manager roll-off, and an accountability to the taxpayers, that you can know that I'm spending your money as best as possible.
Question number 3. It appears that the City of Oshkosh is planning to balance its operating budget through the use of fees in addition to property tax levy increases. Over the past several months, the City of Oshkosh has either adapted or is considering establishing a fee for rental inspections, special events, youth baseball diamond usage, and vehicle registration. Do you support the establishment of fees to balance the city's operating budget?
In general, I do not support the use of fees in lieu of taxes. It's just another tax. It's a better PR move. It sounds better when they say we didn't raise your taxes as much as we could have, and then turn around and assess another fee. It seems as though every month, at least for the last year, this council has taken up discussions and voted on new or revised fee schedules, ranging from ballpark field usage in October, stormwater utility, trash and recycling, the rental inspection program fee, last night's discussion on special events, to name a few. These fees bring in a massive amount of revenue, and that's what they are. They're revenue generators. The concept that we need to fee each individual user group is just flawed by nature. There is a certain expense that a municipality has to be willing to incur, just as the cost of doing business. As citizens of the City of Oshkosh, we have to be willing to incur certain costs to hold special events, to have parks, to just be a culturally advanced, civilized society. It's just the cost of doing business. Those are reasonable costs. There are extraordinary costs that do have to be paid by certain user groups. Those fees that get passed on need to be reasonable. They need to be justified. And it needs to be extremely transparent, the data that's provided by city staff. You cannot release figures on a Friday and expect a community to get behind something on a Tuesday without properly giving them notice, giving them adequate time to mount a response, and to go over the actual data that's being used. It's flawed, and it leads to misinterpretation and a massive miscommunication between the people and their elected leaders. I also feel that we need to make sure we're spending every single dollar as best as possible. I know I said it before, and I'll continue to say it until Election Day. We do not have a revenue problem. We have an expense control problem. So that we need to continue these fees becomes absurd at some point. It's just, it becomes laughable that another fee is needed every single month to continue to balance the city's books. At some point, we really need to look at our expenses better and make sure that we're spending it very wisely.
Question number 4. The Oshkosh City Council has had discussion about adopting a citywide wheel tax. A wheel tax is a charge tacked on to the $75 annual registration fee of vehicles 8,000 pounds or less, or most personal vehicles. As a member of the Oshkosh City Council, would you support the creation of a wheel tax?
I do not support the creation of a wheel tax. A wheel tax, by its definition, is regressive. It overly affects the lower income and fixed income population in the city of Oshkosh if adopted. These are people who a $20, a $30 fee has a massive impact on their daily life. It could mean the difference between a new pair of shoes for their child or dinner for that week. Or in the case of a college student, dinner for several weeks possibly. That has to be a major concern for this council, that we continue to tax those who cannot afford it. My other concern is that this law, if it enacted, this ordinance, the abilities for the council to use it are too wide-ranging. State law allows them to use it for anything transportation related. That could be sidewalks, signage, it could be road improvements, it could be transportation for city buses. There are too many things that this tax could go for, and I don't trust that this council or future ones are going to spend that money wisely, that they won't pull it from one source or one group to fund a budget shortfall in another year. That's very concerning. Step 2 is this is a tax on local business too. This doesn't just affect me individually. If I own a small business, if I'm an electrician, a handyman, a carpet installer, this affects your business as well. These vehicles, anything under 8,000 pounds, that's a pickup truck, that's a work van. Those vehicles will be taxed as well. They're not exempt. At what point do we say enough is enough? We do not need to continue to make it difficult to operate a small business in our city. The only way I could personally support a wheel tax would be if it had a substantive impact on our community, such as it completely eliminated the special assessments that are charged to landowners or property owners for road construction projects. Currently, if a road construction project is done, the city funds a third, and then each side of the street funds their own third. That's a massive amount of money that's assessed to property owners. $4,000, $5,000, $10,000. Last night, there was a couple who mentioned they had a $15,000 special assessment coming to them this year. That's a massive amount of money for people on a fixed budget. If we can adopt a fee that can remove that cost from people's lives, that's a substantive impact. I'll have that discussion, and that's a good one to have. Anything less is just another revenue stream that this city thinks they need to fund their operations.
Final question. The current City Council established a rental inspection program. Do you support this program, and what do you see as the purpose of the program?
As it currently sits, no, I do not support this program. As it was attended to do in August, when it was revised at the end of the year, when it was revised recently as well. Each revision has not improved this ordinance. This ordinance was designed completely by city staff and city and the mayor and a few council members, with little to no input from its citizens, the people who are really affected, property owners, apartment association, industry professionals. These people were not consulted. Their information was not wanted. These are professionals that understand the industry and have knowledge as to how best to move the city forward in improving blighted areas. The council rushed this process. They strong-armed it through. I thoroughly believe the process is important. This council doesn't believe that. You have to give your people time to absorb information, to mount a proper response, to aid in the process. You have to want their input. You have to be willing to accept uncommon opinions or dissenting opinions, and realize they're not in the disinterest of the city, that we can disagree on how to move us forward. We all want the best for the city of Oshkosh, but this council doesn't see it that way. They know what's best, and that's what they're doing. They're pushing things through for whatever they think is best. There are certain parts of this ordinance that are good. The ordinance as a whole is flawed. The rental advisory board should have been created years ago. It could have been a board that helped disseminate information, bring in information from the residents, from UW Oshkosh students, create a partnership with them. They are one of the largest block of renters in the city. They have a vested interest in how they live and the places that they rent from. If you want information to flow, you have to give people an opportunity to speak, and to do so without feeling that they're being talked down to, without feeling that they're less than. That is what this council does, or at least several members of the council do, to its citizens routinely. Part two is this council unilaterally created this. They think they know better. I have a concern with that. The citizens know better than we do. The businesses know best how to move this city forward. The city's function is to aid them, to help protect people, to provide incentives, to foster a diverse environment. The business environment moves the city forward. This current ordinance does very little to help protect or improve the health and safety. All this ordinance currently does right now, as of March the 14th, is increase the revenues to the city of Oshkosh. Without a substantive inspection process that is reasonable, not intrusive, this ordinance does little to actually serve its purpose. And that's unfortunate that the city council does not see that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just a reminder, go out and vote Tuesday, April 4th. Vote for the change you want to see. Vote for the leadership that this city so badly needs. And I ask for your vote. I'm Matt Mugerauer.